house of abnormality, where every room means twisted passions.
You have abnormal tastes.
Until one night, into this house came the monsters of slaughter.
Oh my God!
With some of the most hideous tortures and heinous crimes ever shown on the motion picture screen. The ghastly ones. Rape. Mutilation and the sadistic story of human slaughter. Meet Colin, the mad brother who loves to eat meat. Live meat. Or Liz, whose sick need is only satisfied by the sadism of man. Any man. Or John, who learns the terror of the ultimate torture, but never lives to tell about it. The ghastly one.
What is it?
Not for the squeamish, but an experience so sensually exciting that it will be the stomach shocker of your life. The ghastly one.
Ah. Uh-oh. Who are you?
I'm Grandma.
Some grandma. What beautiful eyes you have. I'm Grandma. I do.
Shock. He called himself Reverend. His church was lost to souls. His congregation, the body beneath, buried for centuries in Highgate Cemetery, each night to rise again to satisfy their bloodlust.
Stop. Good day. Cigarette.
Bizarre rites of a cult of ghouls, so terrifying as to stagger the imagination. Blood was their daily bread, safe from their mutilation and terror, from their unending quest for blood.
Sons and daughters by you,
He chose the young girl, Susan, to be the mother. Decadence. Each night their young victims must procreate a future, a bloodline of children to be devoured by the body beneath.
Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the Friday Night Scream Stream. I'm your host, Spakenstein, joined as always by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink.
Good evening, everybody.
How we doing tonight, Evan?
We are good. We're good. We're feeling really free.
Yeah, still feeling the rush of freedom through my veins that was the 4th of July.
So independent.
Yeah, really. If you really, I hope that everybody got their fill of being like, that's yesterday. That was your one day to defy all the rules and say, this is my independence. I'm free. I can do what I want.
That's right. It's the purge.
That's really, I mean,
there's no rules on July 4th.
That's what it's going to turn into eventually. But we're having fun celebrating how it is. We had a good one. I hope everybody else out there had a great 4th of July. We definitely had good times hanging out, enjoying the sun and some bergs and some dogs and some, well, you know,
some berg dogs.
Some berg dog, yeah, and some brewskis. All the bees. We had all the bees yesterday. It was great. No, but you know, and a little bit of fireworks. We didn't go, obviously, super dry, so you really shouldn't be doing big crazy fireworks right now. Neighbors that I'm looking at that people
that we can hear. They just started.
Yeah, we got started right as the first big booms were going off, and so if we start hearing fire truck sirens during the show, then we'll know that maybe it didn't go so well. But hope everybody else was safe on their 4th of July holiday, and I hope that you're having a good week. You know, you got the day off, hopefully, yesterday. Not everybody did, but hopefully you did. And if you didn't, then hey, you made it to the weekend. We're here to say it's all weird though, doesn't it? Like, I had to tell myself like 5 different times today that it was Friday.
What day it is?
Like, and I was like totally forgetting about the show. Like,
right,
I'm like,
yeah.
Oh God, I've got to do the show tonight. Oh, like it's not Friday, but it is. Like, keep thinking it's Saturday.
And one of those wacky weeks. Wednesday was Friday, then Thursday was Saturday, and then it was Friday again.
Everything's all backwards. So what are you gonna do? But we're hey, we're here, we made it, and yeah, still celebrating our freedom. And really, with our Summer of Schlock returns, we've been celebrating freedom the whole summer. Technically.
That's right. Yeah, we've been celebrating independence in the indie kind of sense.
There it is. That is exactly it, Evan. And we have really seen a wide showcase of truly independent artists, you know, and it's still schlock. I'd say that everything that we've watched this season pretty firmly falls into that category, but you know, there's always some indie artists behind the madness that we glimpse on this show, that we find in the public domain horror. And we've got a new one tonight, and new to me. So this ought to be interesting. Yes.
Oh, it's always a treat.
It is always a treat. And because, you know, I love just discovering any kind of filmmaker or actor that has an extensive horror filmography. And it's like, oh, okay, so they were, you know, had some modicum of success, right? And it's like, well, let's dive in. Let's see what this is all about. So this is a new one.
So who are we talking about
tonight? We are talking about Andy Milligan, and the film is Legacy of Blood from 1978. And this is a old dark house murder mystery style film, and it's also a period piece. It takes place, in the 19th century, I think. Like, you see, can you hear that? You hear the fireworks?
Yeah, I wonder if the mic picks that up.
Yeah.
If you hear that, it's not popcorn, it's fireworks.
Yeah. I thought somebody was popping popcorn. It's like a pop, pop, pop.
Get ready for the movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So this is... It's interesting because, well, we'll talk about it more later, but period pieces were kind of Milligan's thing. And so we'll get into why and all that. And it's just, he's a very interesting character. And the facts that I have, you know, there's a lot of interesting words thrown around when talking about Andy Milligan. So we'll get into that. But I mean, he's a true indie artist. You know, wrote, directed, shot, edited, produced, and he even made the costumes, credited under the name Raffine, which...
Raffine?
Yes. So he
just
was
one name.
That was his pseudonym he did the costumes for all his own movies.
Okay.
Because he was a dressmaker and he was openly gay, and he's wild. So we're gonna get into him tonight. He's gonna be controversial, I think. In all the stuff I read, it's like, oh well, his movies were called trash, but he's got a style. He's a auteur in his own way, not a perfect way, you know, not like he's not a Scorsese or anything, but he's got a style. He's got some hallmarks. So
okay, well, this is exciting.
It's cool, right?
We got a wacky artist character to dig into.
Yeah, it's kind of he is a wacky artist, and we'll talk about kind of how he became that wacky artist and some of the other, like, he's basically, I'll go ahead and give this line away. He's basically a combination between Roger Corman and Andy Warhol, right? It's like, well, now Andy Warhol was a filmmaker as well. He also made movies, but he was, you know, he's also a commercial artist that knew how to sell his art and sell himself. He wasn't necessarily a struggling indie artist, you know? I mean, if it had his name on it, it was gonna net him a lot of money, like just by virtue of, it's a Warhol. And Milligan's career did not work out like that. So we'll get into the whole thing. He had a really interesting career. And, you know, again, true independent artist, which we'll get into tonight. And again, just keeping with that theme of independence, Evan, as always, brings us a delicious cocktail to pair with the evening's film in a little segment which this season he calls...
It's Schlocktail Hour.
All right, well, what's it time for, Evan?
It's time to continue to celebrate our independence, I guess. If I feel like the fireworks outside are just regaling, they're cheering me on for this segment because
they're celebrating you. They're all for you. I actually timed it so it would be while you.
Yeah, you called up the neighbors. Hey, okay, just T minus.
So at 9:20, just start going ham. There they are.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be remiss of me to not do something red, white, and blue themed, I thought. So we're not really theming it for the movie. We're just theming it for the week. But it's it's a holiday, and so we're gonna celebrate with this week's creation. It's a Schlock tale. It's a shot, and I'm calling it the Red, White, and Booze.
Woo!
So this is it's equal parts maraschino syrup, blueberry juice, and white rum, which we're layering in a shot glass. And thanks to the magic of television, I already have one
Ooh,
ready.
Look at that!
And as you can
Isn't
see,
that pretty?
they layer pretty nice,
Very nice,
pretty level
It
there.
looks very good on camera.
Yeah. So that's our drink tonight.
That's
this is
sick.
the Red, White, and Booze.
Very nicely done. So is
If,
that the booze on top?
It is, yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
whoa,
See,
that's
I
gonna
wasn't
be-
sure. I kind of guessed which order they'd go in, and it's the syrup because it's like sugary and heavy,
Heavy,
and then the blueberry juice, which, by the way, guys, like they don't really
make blueberry juice.
blueberry juice, so
You
I
had to
just
squeeze it with your own hands.
I had to squeeze it with these hands.
Nice.
And it wasn't easy, but I did it for the bit. I didn't try it. I don't know what blueberry juice really, if it's even good. I did have to so I forgot blueberries aren't blue on the inside.
Nah, they're like purple.
Yeah,
like,
so if you'd like to make your own Red, White, and Booze at home, you might need some food dye.
just to get the perfect shade of blue, or go buy your favorite blue raspberry flavored something. Yeah, it's
That's
definitely like blueberry juice is a little it's a little strange looking, but it's
Yeah.
blueberries, so it'll be good.
Yeah, well, I think we go ahead and give these a shot.
It's a big shot, I
It's a
will
gulper.
say. It's a
But
gulp.
remember, it's mostly juice.
It's a I know I shouldn't sip it because I'd just be sipping the I gotta
You'd
shoot
just
it.
be sipping
I
the
gotta
rum.
shoot it, but I you know me. I'm gonna you know what?
All right, open that throat.
Well,
Happy Independence Day, everybody. Do the 4th.
cheers.
July the 4th be with you. Woo! Tastes like freedom.
It's just a rum, just like I honestly I may do another one later and just either mix it all up or change up the order.
Okay.
Because the alcohol's gotta come. It can't hit first. If the alcohol hits first, it's like it's gonna be hard to get down either way, right?
Yeah.
It's just like ripping a straight shot. The other stuff, I didn't really taste it.
Yeah, it kind of just,
I just
it all
taste-
slides past.
It did, yeah. It was well, but you know, again, you mix that all up. It's kind of like a Jello shot, maybe. So
Yeah.
We'll try it
We'll-
later.
we'll
maybe.
try
I
it,
know,
yeah.
and I think it's good. I think you know, again,
That's the thing about layered shots, I think. Like, they're really more for, like,
For
the
show.
appearance than...
which, well, 10 out of 10 on the appearance.
I mean, it looks
of
pretty cool.
I'll give you an
It's
11.
a cool effect.
Yeah, it was very well done, and so. And I think again, you know, America, it's that sting, that burn,
Yeah.
right? It's like, just give it to me straight, just right to the throat. So it's actually good. You know, in a shot, especially when it's very alcohol forward, liquor forward, you know, it always gives you a little bit of extra pep, a little bit of
Right,
extra.
yeah.
I'm already feeling all right. I feel a little warm and good and bringing me up a little bit. So.
Yeah, I guess instead of doing rum, I guess I could have gone for, like, Bailey's. But it would have been more white.
That's true. Yeah, Bailey's
It would have
would've-
been kind of like berries and cream.
probably would have. Ooh, and it would have. Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
would have brought out the blue. Well, just the color from the blueberries a little more. I think that contrast, but Still delicious. Still job well done. I'm feeling the freedom flowing through my veins right now. That's good because we might see a lot of blood flowing across the screen later. I don't know how gory this movie will be, but that is one of the Milligan hallmarks is gore effects. Usually pretty crude from what I understand because I have not seen a single Andy Milligan film, but in all the trailers, I mean, you'll see there's at least some kind of gore effect. You're like, whoa, okay, that's... But make no mistake, these are very ultra low budget movies. We're talking under $10,000. And Legacy of Blood is one of his later films, actually. So we'll get into his kind of like Milligan's horror filmography tonight. But this was definitely one of his later ones. This is actually a remake of his first real horror film, which we saw the trailer for in the beginning of our pre-roll, The Ghastly Ones. And I think a few other of his horror movies kind of use the same plot of a family gathering for like the reading of a will to get some inheritance, and then somebody comes along and starts killing members of the family. You know, it's a pretty generic plot you can kind of recycle and do some different things with. And so apparently he did. And it's one of those it's one of those things that with it being a period piece also, it's going to be kind of strange. It's going to be kind of weird because it was made in like the late 70s. This is filmed in 77, released in 78. And so we'll get into kind of like how this was kind of a strange film for 1978 compared to what else was out at the time. See if you can guess that before we talk about it. But the other thing before we get into it is just that the whole kind of system that Milligan operated under was the indie film ecosystem of New York City at the time, which was the 42nd Street was where there were a lot of Grindhouse theaters where they were just constantly showing movies like, 24/7, and there were a lot of like porno theaters, and you'd have like porno movies and cheapo horror movies and all these things. And because there was just one theater beside another theater beside another, like 42nd Street was just like lined with movie theaters that constantly needed product. So that was how Milligan kind of found his niche and was able to make a whole, like at least 14 of these movies, was because they had a pretty steady distribution like set up through that like 42nd Street Grindhouse system. And then they would also distribute these films across the United States and smaller markets. So should be lucrative, and I'm sure it was for the producers, but not so much Milligan. We'll get into all that later. So yeah, this is a little
wild to me that there's like such a market for shitty movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was,
you just need something to do.
These Grindhouse theaters just needed product. It didn't necessarily need to be good. And that's the thing that, the most basic criticism of Milligan's films that I've read is that, well, it's very amateurish. It's it's all handheld camera. And apparently one of his, I don't know if we'll see him, but one of his popular techniques is to like, somebody will get killed or something, and he'll swirl the camera around, and he just does like a camera swirl. Oh, because he's shooting the thing. He's doing it all. And he came out of theater, and he just has a crazy background, crazy story, and a lot of like recurring themes. So it'll be a lot of fun. So excited to get into all of this tonight. Anything else before we get into it, Evan?
Do you think that this director, like when he's shooting something, he gets like one do-over for free? He just
I
cries
don't know.
Milligan.
I don't know if he's like Ed Wood, where it's just one take, go, cut it, print it, let's move on, or if it's, let's, This is all new to me, uncharted territory. I'm excited. It's always fun coming into a movie.
Milligan.
Milligan. Oh, there it is. I didn't get the joke. Over
I was
my
hoping
head.
someone in the audience did. Cause
Thank you. I took me a while, but it's a Milligan. Yeah, that's honestly that's how a lot of critics I think look at his films. Like, well, it's just give it to him. He worked hard. No, I mean no, but that's the thing. I mean he's he achieved some status and acclaim. He just didn't see any money from it, unfortunately. We'll get into all that. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the exciting beginning of Legacy of Blood right now.
Is this the director?
He's also all the background. Now he does have a cameo in this. He apparently plays a mailman.
Okay.
So we will
keep your eyes peeled for a mailman.
See costumes
by
Rafine. That's him.
A lot of them. It's just Rafine.
Well, that's the thing, dude. Especially these period pieces. He made medieval period pieces. Like, and they're all wearing these ridiculous looking costumes.
You get for running around out here when I've told you not to. Here, let me see. What are we gonna do with you? Here, wrap this around it. Okay, come on now. Hurry, come on. Carl. It's the boat. Carl.
Did she slap him? Did I
She
see
did.
that right?
Yeah.
Just very casually.
And it looked like really hard too.
Now, I want you to sit right here and wait for us till we come back. Understand? All right? Look up! Give me my wheel!
This is my wheel.
Hey kid, nice wheels.
Now what's the matter? Nothing. Why the long look on your face? I said it was nothing. I'm not going to take you with me next time.
What are you doing here? I've never seen you here before.
Sure you have. He's the half-wit brother of the Lennox sisters, the ones that live on Hanley Island.
Oh, yeah. You want a drink? Go on, it won't hurt you.
Make you feel good. Come on.
That sign looks very new.
Never seen you two in over a year.
Well, we don't get into town too often. It must be very lonesome on that island here by yourselves.
We're used to it.
How's Carl? Oh, the same. How's Oscar?
The same. It's a good thing you didn't marry him.
Maybe.
Oh no. What the
fuck?
Let's go commit murder.
Let's just go kill a guy.
Oh, no. We should have stayed here with him. That's right. Blame me.
Are you looking for him?
Our brother, yes. Do you know where he went?
Yeah, they went that way with 2 guys.
2 men?
Yeah, you better hurry. They ain't no good.
Damn.
Too late.
Oh fuck. hard. Cut it hard.
We gotta keep this moving.
Need help?
You bring this tray. I'll take the rest. What time do you have to be to work today?
Don't. Told you yesterday. Day off.
You mean I'm stuck with you all day?
Lucky lady.
Your breakfast will get cold.
What do you want, a cold breakfast or a cold meat?
Neither. Sit.
Have all day.
Lech. Expecting someone?
You? Oh, couldn't be mother.
God, I hope not. Not at this hour.
Now, be nice.
Smith? James Smith?
Yes?
Special delivery letter.
Where from?
The
New York. Did you sign here?
Maybe.
Here. Wait a minute, please.
Yes, probably. If he steals something, they said it's a mailman who steals something. So yes, that's him.
What's your game, mailman?
Here we are.
Thank you.
Let's just throw this in here. Why not?
Think that's gonna come back at all?
Probably not.
It's from Samuel Schaefer.
Your lawyer. What does he want?
He wants us in New York on April 10th.
What for?
Doesn't say. Says it's imperative that we be there.
We? What does it have to do with me?
He wants us both.
Oh, you tell me I have to go?
Oh, man.
Whenever I want to. I have a law practice to attend to, such as it is.
You could get your friend Robert to handle things for a few days. You always say what a good lawyer he is.
The way things have been going here in Boston, there certainly wouldn't be much for him to handle.
You only started practice 8 months ago. Give yourself time.
Well, you put up with a lot being married to me. I bet you thought it was going to be easier being married to a lawyer.
You don't hear me complaining, do you?
What are we going to do for money?
Your mother?
Oh, sure. That's all we need. Another favor from her.
I can put up with it if you can.
We never had a honeymoon.
That's right.
Things are slow right now.
We could stay at Louise's.
You're a wench, you know that.
I know.
What? What?
Cunningham.
What?
She be down soon?
Well, you better get her drink ready soon.
Yes, miss.
What?
I don't think it's a good idea, my going.
This movie's weird.
Robert,
It is
can't.
weird.
The lawyer said in his letter he
We're
wants us
what?
both there.
5 minutes in?
Manage Sylvia.
This is
He's
weird.
done so for the past month. He can manage another week.
You know how she gets.
You can't imagine how happy I'll be when she goes back to New York.
She had no one else.
Doesn't she have any friends?
She used to have many. She's alienated them all. I'm really all that's left.
If only she didn't drink so much. And that mouth on her. I'm hungry. You should be. You haven't eaten since yesterday.
Oh, ain't she the little nurse? You keeping count, honey? Ito, another
I
drink.
think you've had enough.
Dinner is served.
Of course.
I hope you and Ito will be all right while Jennifer and I are in New York.
Well, Ito loves me, don't you, Ito? Never seen one like me before, have you?
Sylvia, how's your ankle?
Stupid. That's what it was. Stupid. First time I ever fell off the apron. The apron, Jennifer, is the front of the stage.
Yes, I know.
Wasn't drunk. Don't care what those bastards say.
Sylvia, eat.
Jennifer, I'm gonna take you to my dressmaker. Maybe that way you won't look so much like a plucked chicken.
Got her.
I remember when I starred in that play with George Arliss.
He won't eat. Why not?
He won't let me come.
On to the next thing.
Well, at least his arm's not broken. Any normal person would have died in such a fall.
He's too stupid to get hurt. What kind of person would do something like that?
We can't take him with us when we go into town.
Do you think it's safe to leave him here alone?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see if we can get him to eat something. Wish to God he'd let us take him back upstairs. At least till his arm's better.
You'll never get him upstairs.
Shh.
Carl. It's me, Margaret.
Oh, come on now.
Look what I've got. Good. Food good. Oh, it's good.
Very convincing.
Good. Want some?
Is this poor guy's bed a pile of bricks?
It looks like it.
Oh, here, let me hold it for you. There. Oh, that's good. Huh?
The finale.
That hurts, doesn't it? I'm not.
He spit up a bunch of blood when he
You know, his
fell.
arm's gonna be all right. It's amazing. Let me see.
Susan, I think I'll put my sister Regina in this room. That's my younger sister, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And I'll put my other sister, Jennifer, and her husband in the guest room next to the bathroom. That's Mr. and Mrs. Burke. Mr. and Mrs. Burke.
And Susan, make sure that you change the linens every day while they're here. And don't come up to make the beds until afternoon in case they want to sleep late.
Yes, ma'am.
Mother, I wish you'd help me pack. I don't know what to take with me.
Susan, go down to the kitchen and get a pencil and paper and tell your mother to come upstairs. I want to give her the menu for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, she's gone out.
Out where?
I don't ask.
Oh, she might have gone shopping. Well, if only we get through these next 2 days, I'll be happy. They just as well could have stayed in a hotel.
Mother.
Charlotte, in a minute. You can't always be first.
The sink is stopped up in the laundry room again.
Oh, that's all we need. Well, tell your mother I'll get a plumber first thing in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what's wrong?
You didn't have to say that in front of Susan.
Say what?
What you said.
You're spoiled rotten, you know that?
You keep reminding me.
Charlotte, you've changed in the last year.
How?
You're getting stuck up.
What do you mean?
Well, like just now with Susan. You acted superior to her. You know, Susan and her mother work for us because they have to. They don't have everything they want the way you do. If you don't watch yourself very carefully when you're growing up, you become very ignorant of other people's feelings. And the first thing you know, you turn into a not very nice person.
I'm sorry, Mother.
Life lessons.
The reason I'm so hard on you, honey, is because I want so much more.
Don't look at the camera.
She's looking right at the camera.
You see, I won't always be here to take care of you.
Regina? Didn't you hear me knock?
No.
What's the matter?
It's cold in here.
It's not. What's wrong?
Ever since I was a little girl, I've had feelings, premonitions about things. I've been sitting here, thinking about going to New York. Something in the back of my mind tells me not to.
We can't stop now. We borrowed the money. The plans are made. Louise and John are expecting us.
I don't like it. I'm frightened. Hold me.
Still trying to figure out how these characters connect to the other characters.
Under the back porch to the old shed. But he wants his rabbit with him in the cellar.
You spoil him too much.
Well, how am I going to handle him without it,
Get him his rabbit.
Movie is jumping around so
the
much.
cutting is so fast.
Well, we're used to some pretty meandering movies here on this
Mind
show.
if I disturb you?
You never disturbed me.
Susan and her mother have gone out. And with Charlotte at your mother's, the house is just too empty.
What time do they arrive tomorrow?
Regina and James at about 7:30, and Jennifer and her husband at about 8.
How come we're not meeting them?
Jennifer's idea. She felt that since they were both arriving at Grand Central, and only a half an hour apart, it would be foolish to meet them. They know the way.
You mean we'll have a little time to ourselves in the morning?
More or less. Everything's ready. You know, I like your idea of you 3 men going your way and we 3 girls going ours.
Say, I thought I'd take them to Luchow's for lunch. Maybe a little sightseeing afterward.
And I thought that I'd take Jennifer and Regina to that little restaurant I told you.
I hope they serve drinks.
I wouldn't go there if they didn't. With all the talk we're going to have to catch up on, I'm going
Yep, that's how I pick my restaurants.
Aren't you glad you married me?
No, not really.
What? What, you little... Oh, get back now. Come on.
Oh, John!
Well, I guess his arm
wood in the basket.
filled up pretty. At least his hand healed up.
Yeah.
Don't you ever learn anything? Never mind. Go on in and try to help Mary. I'll do this.
Walking right past that very modern street pole with all the holes in
Oh,
it.
this is just the loveliest little tea room I found when it was raining.
Yeah,
on
the
Thursday.
time period
They have
feels a
the
little
greatest luncheon.
ambiguous.
It definitely is.
Good afternoon, may I help you?
Yes, I called before 3, Mrs. Halverson.
Yes, Miss Halverson.
Come in. Oh, yeah.
Would you care for some drinks?
Oh, I'd like one sherry, please. Same for me. And I'll have some white wine, please. I hope you two are hungry. Starved.
Oh,
like
good.
a log last night, Louise. What a comfortable bed you
No, we
have.
really could have stayed at a hotel.
Oh, don't be silly. I
Oh,
love
so the
having
sisters
you.
are together now.
We haven't seen
Okay.
each other for so long.
I'll be back to your order.
Jimmy and Robert said
We
something
just
about
jumped.
the Museum of Natural History
Oh,
today.
is that where they went? Robert wants to do lots of sightseeing.
Well, John is going to meet them on 14th Street and take them to Luchow's for dinner.
Oh, how nice.
Everything.
Sherry.
Well, here.
Sherry?
Right, here, please.
Steak looks good.
Let's make a choice.
Salmon
Would you like
steak.
this?
Yes.
Chicken
Have a
and
salad.
salad.
And the white wine.
Oh, that's mine. Thank you.
Can I take your orders
Would you
now?
mind wait? I'll have the chicken, a salad, and maybe coffee now, please.
I'd like the salmon steak and also a salad.
And I'll have the special, please. Now, here's 2.
Oh.
Why did Samuel Schaefer want the men at the reading of Papa's will?
He won't say. He just said that he can't read the will without our husbands being there.
It sounds a bit crazy to me, but then Papa always was a little nuts.
The whole family is.
Speak for yourself, Regina.
What time tomorrow?
3 o'clock at Schaefer's office. We'll leave on the 6 o'clock train for upstate, and then we'll make boat connections at 8:30, and we should be on Hanley Island by 9. That's the schedule Mr. Schaefer's worked out for us.
Why such a precise schedule?
That's the way Father wanted it. He was very definite about all the arrangements.
I wish we'd known.
Or could it be because the director always used
That lawyer
public
Schaefer says it's
transportation,
probably
never
better
got a
than
driver's license?
What do
So
you
no
mean?
wonder
Excuse me.
pay
Which
such
dressing would
strict
you like on
attention to
Oh,
schedule
house dressing would be
details.
fine.
Hey,
thank
write
you.
what you know.
Father was a
Apparently
very
that was his
strange
thing.
man,
We'll get
a
into that
loner.
later.
According to Mr. Schaefer, even Mother didn't understand him.
Well, I only saw him twice when I was a child.
I don't remember him at all.
I only remember seeing Father once, and then I vaguely remember he and Mother shouting at each other. I think... I don't know.
Tomorrow should be very interesting.
Well, why do we have to go to the island for the reading of the will? Why can't we just have it done in Mr. Schaefer's office?
Oh, Father was very definite about that. He was definite about all the arrangements. Do you know that we had to wait for you and James to be married for at least 2 years before Mr. Schaefer could even open the first envelope with his instructions?
That just sent a chill down my spine.
Well, then let's change the subject. Louise,
I
how's
believe
Charlotte?
it.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's 7 now.
Me
She's staying with
too.
my mother-in-law until we come back from Hanley Island. You know, I would have thought you and Robert would have had scads of children by now.
Well, Robert doesn't want to have any children. I guess he's got a point. We're both alike in that respect. We're too selfish to have children.
Where's Papa buried?
Hey, at least she's
What
honest.
made you think of that?
I don't know.
Buried a few blocks from here, in a seaman's cemetery. He insisted on it. Seems he spent so much time at sea and traveling that he wanted to be buried with fellow travelers. That's how he put it.
Weird.
Well, let's go there after lunch. I'd like to see his grave.
You know, Jennifer, it's strange, but so would I.
Strange. Going to see your father's grave.
But you finished upstairs. Well, I haven't. Well, why not? I've only got 2 hands. Well, I need some
I
help in
haven't
the
figured out
kitchen.
how they're connected to the main plot
That
yet.
is, if you can find the time to help in the kitchen.
Like the sisters. They're not part of the sisters.
Look, I'm not going to put up with that. It's hard enough around here without you starting in.
What do you want from me?
Darling, well, I'd be glad when these 4 days are over.
So
Hanley, John Hanley. Wasn't a seaman. That's all we got buried here, you know.
The grave was unmarked.
Sure you got the right place? You know, there's another one. Blazing Star Cemetery.
No, this is the place. It would have been all of 20 years since he was buried.
I've been here 32 years. Started when I was a kid. My father used to be the caretaker, and his father before him.
It's an unmarked grave. He was shipped here from South America.
Yeah, I remember. The financier, something like that. You know, they shipped him in here standing up. He arrived packed in orchids. That body was packed in so tight that it took 2 of us with crowbars to get him out.
Where's the grave?
Anyone that were strangers, not bona fide seamen, was put over here. There he is.
This is it?
Yep, not much to it.
We'll plant some shrubs.
Can't.
Why not?
I remember correct, he didn't want anything to mark his final resting place. Guess that were her wishes, too. Your mother, I guess. The woman that's standing there with him. They're locked together, you know. Are you all right?
I bet they shot her puking and it got cut. I saw a clip from one of his other movies earlier today. Somebody puked. So like, well, he mastered that special effect.
Yeah, well, he's a special effect guy.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Baba Mufatanda. Louise, are you out of your mind? Since when do you need an advisor?
He isn't just that. I mean, he teaches me other things like relaxation, mind control, emotional economy.
Emotional economy?
That's funny. No, he isn't. He's a
Just
nice
rattle that off.
You'll see that when you meet him.
And his father can see into the future.
Well, he has predicted things that have come true.
Well, I've never been to a fortune teller before. This should prove very interesting.
Oh, I know what you're both thinking, but don't be too negative. It throws off bad vibrations, and Baba can sense them right away.
Yes? We're here to see Baba.
Oh, Baba is meditating. He expects you. Come in.
And that is going to take us to our first break. So we're a third of the way through Legacy of Blood. What do we think so far, Evan?
This movie's weird.
It's
man.
weird, isn't it?
like I don't really know what else to say about it. We've got some oddball characters. It's
What's driving me nuts is I can't figure out how one part of the plot connects to the other part of the plot.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that to kind of come together, but
it's driving me bonkers. Because the sisters, that seems to be like the main kind of plot. But what we started with and what we keep cutting back to with this seemingly other separate family, it's like a whole different story.
Yeah, we've got parallel storylines going.
Yeah, I mean, and it will be satisfying when they converge, and they will eventually, I'm sure. But
they better.
Yeah, like he just had this lying around from another movie that he tried to shoot, but I don't know, who knows? Like, yeah. I mean, so far they've set the stage. There's a lot of different factions. At least there's a lot going on. It's not.
Yeah. There's so much going on that it's almost a little hard to keep track.
A little bit, yeah. If the cutting wasn't so jarring and the scene transitions were a little smoother, it might play differently.
Yeah, they cut this one really hard.
Yeah, cut it hard. And that, I guess, that was his style. Obviously, subtlety isn't part of the equation here. And I mean, that's exploitation filmmaking in general. That's not even Andy Milligan. That's just how exploitation films are. And make no mistake, that's what Andy Milligan trafficked in was exploitation films. And I mean, before he really got into the horror stuff, he did a fair amount of like sexploitation films as well. And early in his career, he was making mostly sexploitation films, and then he made the ghastly ones and kind of switched between the two. But then around 1970, he kind of firmly decided, okay, like these horror movies are relatively successful. Again, he wasn't seeing any of the profits, but they were successful enough that these Grindhouse distributors were like, hey, go ahead and make another one for us. We'll give you $10,000. Go ahead and make another one of these little movies for us. But
so he was getting all his money on the front end.
Yes, exactly. Nothing on the back end, which screwed him later, obviously. But he was an artist in the sense that he really did it because he enjoyed it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that his films are optimistic or sunny or. So he, the kind of the very, very brief life story of Andy Milligan is that he essentially grew up he was born in Minnesota and grew up in a kind of had a bad home life. His mother was abusive and overbearing and maybe alcoholic, maybe had some kind of mental illness. And so that kind of upbringing apparently really shaped his films, which are noted for their, all directors have hallmarks. I took a whole class on Hitchcock, and the whole class is basically just picking out like you got the cool blonde and the MacGuffin, and you got the this and you got the that. And but even the unacclaimed directors, if they have a big enough body of work, and even Ed Wood's body of work is only 5 or 6 films, and he
still
hallmarks run through. You find them, and Andy Milligan's no different. But his were most of the time morality plays, but the recurring hallmarks are transgression and punishment, dysfunctional family relationships, repressed sexuality, homosexuality, physical deformity, and, again, a period piece. Those were just kind of the things you could expect from an Andy Milligan horror film from the 70s, 60s or 70s.
And a klepto mailman.
And a klepto mailman, which you're probably not going to explain or come back to that or anything. It's just a one-off, I guess. But, I mean, you know, he had that kind of not a great upbringing, and apparently he was an army brat. Like his dad moved around, got stationed in different places. So he moved around. He enlisted in the Navy after World War II, then was honorably discharged, moved to New York, and operated mostly out of Staten Island. But he was active in the off-Broadway theater scene, was really big in like avant-garde theater, and owned and operated a couple different like, you know, like play theaters, like theatrical theater, like not like movie theaters, like, you know,
a theater.
Yeah, not theaters. Well, I don't know.
Not a cinema.
Not a cinema. Yeah, he didn't run cinemas. Nah. But he yeah, I mean, so he also ran a dress shop, which, what did they say it was called? Ad Lib, I think, was the name of the shop.
Okay.
And
was it ad lib by Razine?
By Rafine.
Rafine.
No, I don't think so. I don't know if that was just the pseudonym he used to do costumes for his movies, or if that was a regular pseudonym. But he yeah, I mean, it's funny that he kind of, that's where he got started, was, you know, he sustained himself with dressmaking and then allowed himself to kind of have this outlet of, you know, the theater and plays and all that, and wrote plays, and then got into filmmaking in, I think, the mid 60s. He did a short film called Vapors, which was like it was like a film that took place at a bathhouse. And so it was like this encounter between two men, nothing sexual, but that made it more powerful, right? As there was these guys having a conversation, and it was early 60s. So they were still worried about the code. So they don't, you know, no sexual content. And he never did like any sex scenes that were in his films were always very softcore. He never did anything hardcore. But that short kind of got his career started. And again, this was in the time where, like, you know, you have indie filmmakers like Roger Corman kind of setting a model, but then you have artists like Andy Warhol who are just out there doing crazy things. And like, hey, look at what I can do with cinema. Andy Warhol was doing, like, you know, I think he had a movie that was just a blowjob, or he had like some movie that was like 100 hours long, or he did all this crazy stuff, right? He would just do. So that was kind of the vibe at the time, especially in like New York, was like in the artist scene. It's like, do something crazy and get paid a lot of money for it. But that wasn't necessarily Milligan's, like, he never demanded a bunch of money to do crazy weird stuff. And you know, again, that's why you get a $10,000 budget. You're like, hey, I'll make it work. I'll make a period piece. And that's what he did. And so the thinking behind that, which nowadays we would say, no, you don't make a period piece. It's going to be way more expensive.
Right, yeah.
His thinking, the reason why he did it was because apparently if you shot a period piece, the hope was that the audience wouldn't be able to tell when it was actually shot.
Okay.
So you could say that it was shot this year, even if it had actually been shot 6 years ago, and sell it to theaters as if it was a new movie, even when it really wasn't. Now, that may sound strange to us, but again, the kind of Grindhouse MO at the time was that these movies would run for like more than 3 years on the circuit. They would just kind of go around, and, you know, some would play for like 4 or 5 years. And whereas a lot of like Hollywood conventional thinking, even up to that time, was, okay, this will have a wide run and maybe we'll sell it to television, but that's the end of it. there's no life after that. Now we know home video, streaming now.
Right.
Of course, it's not just about the theatrical run.
Yeah, I was wondering, do they really think that people are going to want to watch a movie from 6 years ago?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of the interest. I think why maybe he stands out now as kind of a cult filmmaker, and his films are kind of have their own cult following, is because the weirdness of them and the just it's so obvious, so painfully obvious that these period pieces are, it's not like, usually you do a period piece, you're really trying for painstaking detail. If there's a continuity error, you really we're hoping that wouldn't happen. Here, it's just like, and his thing was,
how much authenticity can you get for $10,000?
Right. Well, and to that end, he was shooting everything in his own home. Like when he lived in New York, it was in the early days, in the mid to late 60s, he lived in a mansion, like some kind of big old mansion. So they'd shoot, period pieces in this mansion. It worked for the most part. The Ghastly Ones, I believe, was shot there. Then the year after the Ghastly Ones, he actually moved to England and shot 5 films there, but they were released over the span of 3 years. They were all shot in 1969, but I think the last one was released in 73. And
were they also period pieces?
They were also period pieces.
Doesn't matter how old they are.
Well, and when you're in England, you're gonna get you're stretch it a little further in terms of your locations and everything. Hopefully it holds up a little more.
Yeah, maybe you can do low budget, authentic period pieces if you're just in the place where it happened.
Right. So he did have a little bit more of a leg up when he was shooting in England. So the trailers that we're going to see are for 2 films that he shot over there. The first is for a movie entitled Torture Garden. Wait, is it Torture Garden or Torture Chamber? Maybe it's Torture Chamber. Torture Garden might be the name of a horror anthology film from maybe the same year. Torture Chamber or Torture Dungeon. Maybe that's what this is called. Torture Dungeon.
Something.
I think it's Torture Dungeon. And I don't know what it's about, but it is, I think, I don't know if it was the first one he shot there. And then the one after that is entitled Bloodthirsty Butchers. And we saw the trailer for that whenever we watched Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street with Todd Slaughter, because Bloodthirsty Butchers is another version of the Sweeney Todd story. Andy Milligan style, so it's very low budget, and there's a lot of,
I remember this one,
trashy gore and sex and all this, just painfully low budget period piece. I mean, again, but these trailers have really bad announcers, they're talking like this. It's not as bad as Dracula's dog. It's not Dracula. It's not that bad, but it's still it just doesn't. Yeah, I guess in a way, maybe they're trying to appeal to kind of the people that have a sense of what camp is and what well, if you're in the mood for a really trashy horror movie, here it is. That's almost how these trailer narrators sound. But then they put the echo in when they say the title, just the title. When you're in the mood for bloodthirsty butchers, then blah blah, and it's just this is odd. But that's the times.
We need to let's start doing that on our show.
We should really just have really awful
legacy of blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but put a scary echo under it.
Yeah.
All right. What are you trying to accomplish here? I don't know.
We'll bring back Fresh. He could do that.
Fresh would. He's the master of that. obviously the true Messiah is Longmont, but I would say that Fresh is a master. So we're gonna enjoy these two Andy Milligan period piece horror film trailers, and then when we come back, we'll get into the exciting middle of Legacy of Blood. So stick around, we'll be right back.
Torture Dungeon. If you see it once, you'll see it over and over again in your nightmares.
I love you. You know that, don't you, William?
It's a story of a great love. And this glorious series of murders and never dare see again.
Open your mouth. No. Open it. How many times have we told you not to eat bugs?
Albert, Duke of Abathy, I now pronounce you man and wife.
You must burn it first to make it smell.
There's no time! Suck it! Suck it! Suck it!
Some of the victims were mercifully in the torture dungeon.
Excuse me.
He has no tongue. He gets liquid, but no food for 70 days.
I want to share my pleasures, my loves. And the three of us shall be one big happy...
In this picture to make you cringe in your seat. Other portions of the film. These sample scenes should give you a pretty good idea. Torture dungeon. Torture dungeon. Torture dungeon.
The bloodthirsty butchers were mild-mannered people who couldn't stand blood or violence.
Yes, you bastard!
How's your sister?
See the butchers make love. See them at play. The butchers were usually quite careful in their work. But not always.
Oven's hot.
Should be.
Be careful of the hair. There was a hank of hair found in one of the last pies. Mustn't get careless, Tobias. We have work to do.
There are fun surprises for all the family. Watching the passion of the lovers made the butcher yellow with curiosity. Yellow with curiosity?
Good day to you, Mr. Busker.
Good day. I want a pie.
Your usual?
Yes?
Joanna, would you get me a cup of tea? It's going to cost you a little more.
Why?
You know very well why.
How much more?
2 shillings.
That's highway robbery.
Not when you consider the sauce.
Do I get the part I want?
Don't you always?
Yes, yes.
If you like the color red, then you'll love the bloodthirsty butchers. These are just a few of the lighter moments from the bloodthirsty butchers. See the whole bloody mess here soon at this theater.
And we are back. So that was the trailers for Torture Dungeon and Bloodthirsty Butchers. And I believe those films ran on a double bill together. So that's, you know, that's the thing when he filmed them all back to back to back, and then the distributor was like, oh, okay, put these two on a double bill, put these two on a double bill. I mean, it was that, you know, we've talked about the Roger Corman, the studio that he worked for, American International Pictures. We've talked about them a lot this season because they even produced last week's film, The Eye Creatures. But they pioneered that model of just producing both double features themselves and putting it out as a double feature. And that was kind of the whole Grindhouse, like, kind of a successful package was the double feature that thrived in the Grindhouse setting. So, yeah, that was like when Andy Milligan, kind of his boom years, like his best years were like, it was probably like a 5-year stretch from 1969 to like 73, 74. And then things kind of fell off for a little bit. The movie that tonight's film is a remake of, The Ghastly Ones, that actually premiered on a double bill with The Sadist, which we watched 2 seasons ago, in which we saw the cousin of earlier this season when we watched Ega. I guess those movies are cousins, brothers, sisters, whatever you want to call it.
That would have been a heavy double bill.
Yeah, The Sadist and the Ghastly Ones. Yeah, fuck. Like, The Sadist is actually a pretty good movie. And apparently The Ghastly Ones is like not too bad for Andy Milligan. You know, I mean, again, we are seeing tonight is he actually had taken like 5 years off from like horror filmmaking, kind of filmmaking in general, and then made tonight's film. And it's kind of considered his last hurrah. And we'll talk about his later career during the second break. But, you know, he just, again, this was like kind of a recycled plot that he had used many times. But these Grindhouse audiences, they're not paying attention to that. They're
just waiting for much like us, they're just waiting for the gore.
Well, this is the thing. So I do have a quote on the Grindhouse theater goers, a description that I got off Wikipedia, of course, but it was from some book. And you know, 42nd Street was also known, the nickname for it back in those days was The Deuce. So there was actually a Scorsese produced show on HBO a couple of years ago called The Deuce, and it had James Franco playing twins. But this was like post Me Too, and James Franco it was canceled after 2 seasons. James Franco's kind of controversial, and so it just didn't, even though it had Scorsese's name on it, it didn't quite measure up to some of the other HBO, you know. It's not a Sopranos, okay? We can't all be Sopranos, but apparently it was a decent show. But it chronicled that time. It was basically from the 60s to like the early 80s that these Grindhouse movie theaters thrived on 42nd Street. And the description for the theater goers is, and this is paraphrased, but depressives hiding from jobs, sexual obsessives, inner city people seeking cheap diversions, teenagers skipping school, adventurous couples on dates, couple chasers peeking on them, people getting high, homeless people sleeping, pickpockets. And
people of all stripes wasting time.
Exactly. Just need to get off the street for a little bit. You pop into this theater.
Look, I just need to find a place to sit down.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie American Werewolf in London. Obviously that's in London, but there was a place called like Piccadilly Square, I think, that was kind of similar, and it had a lot of these like theaters. And there's a bit where the character just goes in and like sits down to, I don't think he's running from somebody, but he is just like, he's having all these bad thoughts and he's just trying to get, he just ducks into this theater and just sits down and he has this vision. But that is like an old movie thing.
It is, right?
You
it's
see
like,
people ducking into the theater to
it's
like,
like your Holden Caulfield.
Yeah, right.
That's
see,
when he's just running around being a little terror.
That was
duck into the movies.
New York back in the day, man, I couldn't even imagine just the city, right? Like, and outside the street, apparently populated with phony drug salesmen, low-level drug dealers, chain snatchers. I'm not sure what that. Junkies, predators, prostitutes of all ages. Unfortunately, porn stars whose films were playing. Being a freak there would get you money, attention, entertainment, a starring part in a movie, or maybe a robbery and a beating.
So it's a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
Ain't that New York?
Oh, ain't that the deuce?
The deuce.
Deuce.
Good place to get revved up.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Don't even get me started. I'll start singing the whole thing. But yeah, so that's just like the environment that the Andy Milligan films. Like, that's the thing. If it's a half-ass period piece, it doesn't really necessarily matter so much. Just what do you got? What's on? It's like, and now just channel flipping. It's just like, what's up?
I'll just watch anything.
Because people are probably walking in mid-movie anyway. Nobody's caring about show times. Just one ticket. Boom. Okay, here. And you're just...
One ticket for whatever's playing.
I mean, seriously, like, when there are that many theaters on the same block, stretch of street, whatever, you have a billion options. It's like now, you think you're oversaturated now, trying to be on 42nd Street back in 1975. Yeah, so that's the environment, and so we'll see more of we'll see. Hopefully the plot picks up. We're about to get into the exciting middle of Legacy of Blood, and so far they've been introducing all the players and giving us a vague idea of kind of what's at stake and how people's psyche works, how they'll approach whatever's going to come in the middle or third part of this movie. So it's a lot of setup we got. So hopefully things kind of move along here.
Yeah, I mean, they're for as fast as they're going, it's kind of hard to see where they're going.
We got the very brutal thing of this mentally handicapped gentleman being thrown off of a fucking bridge by
for
these
no reason.
Fucking douchebags for absolutely no reason at all. It was totally random and like really shocking, and you can see kind of why like Milligan's films are known for that kind of violence. Like earlier when we saw the sister slap Carl,
and nobody says anything about it.
And that looked like a real slap too, right? Like that's like Milligan's films. It's kind of like they're known for hatefulness, ugliness in the characters and how they treat each other and just generally what happens, and just this kind of shocking violence that isn't really like, why is somebody doing this? Why is this happening? And this is all from the mind of Andy Milligan. So who can say but him? Anything else before we get into the exciting middle of Legacy of Blood, Evan?
I'll just say that I'm really wondering where this is going. I'm yellow with curiosity.
Well, hopefully your curiosity can be satisfied. So, on that note, we're gonna go ahead and get into the exciting middle of Legacy of Blood right now.
Baba will be with you in a moment. Please remove your shoes. Thank you.
Remove our shoes? She's joking.
No, he feels better in natural surroundings, as he puts it. And he feels that the elements can circulate better if our hands and feet are uncovered.
Well, all right.
I feel like she's the best actor in this
I hope I don't begin to laugh.
Ah, Mrs. Howells.
Baba,
I don't know,
it
what
was
about
so
this guy?
gracious of you to receive us on such short notice. I'd like you to meet my sister, Jennifer. Kiss it. And my sister, Regina.
This ring was once the ring of a great teacher. He gave it to me on his deathbed.
This is Mike Myers in The Love Guru.
I would not.
It's like Adam DeMam doing Mike Myers in The Love Guru when he dresses
You
up.
who have powers to see should not be skeptical.
That's exactly what it is.
Like me.
How did you guess?
Baba does not guess. Baba knows.
Louise told you.
No one. Ina, won't you all please be seated? Ina, some drinks for our guests. 2 sherries for these 2 ladies, and Mrs. Halverson will have a white wine.
Why'd he boop her nose?
No, Mrs. Halverson did not tell me that was what you drink. I just know. Now.
I don't mean to appear rude, but I was just curious.
Curious about my name.
Why, yes.
My mother was Hungarian, a gypsy. Baba was her pet name, hence Baba. My father was Himalayan, hence Mufatanda. You see, you Americans are not the only ones with mixed blood. Actually, I never knew my father. To be nearer the truth,
I'm gonna say this is
I'm a
all pretty
bastard.
yikes to me.
The 3 of us are going to take a trip, a short trip. Will it be pleasant for the 3 of us?
The 2 of you.
2 of us?
1
I
will
think
not
we're back in
Why not?
exploitation territory.
Baba, why won't you answer me?
Sherry?
Currents are not good. Ina is disturbed.
Should we go?
Yes, that is a good idea.
No! 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 No!
Oh my god.
Go away! Daddy's not wanted here! Go away! Go away! Oh, go away!
Jesus Christ.
That escalated really quickly.
Incredibly quickly. That did not end well.
Did you feed Carl?
He eats what he wants to.
This place used to be so beautiful. Remember?
That was a long time ago.
Not that long ago.
I love how vague all this shit in this plot line is.
Where?
Any place but here.
We have a little money saved up.
It's very deliberate.
Do you think we'll get something from the settlement of the estate?
Deliberately
Of course
vague.
we will. Do you know how many years we've been on this island?
Don't think about it. Funny running into Vera like that in the bank.
She looks well for her age.
We would too if we had her money.
Why didn't you get married when you had the chance?
Oscar? Oh, a lot of reasons. I had you and Carl to look after.
We could have managed.
I did the right thing.
So was that the they ran into in the bank the main sister?
Thank you.
And she's saying she should have married the main sister's husband. Is that how they're
That
connected?
what this is?
I think.
Mrs. Carver called, said she'd be a half hour late.
Mrs. Carver is always late. Alice, tomorrow at 3 for the reading of the Hanley will. I want absolutely no interruptions.
Do you think you'll be through by 4?
Why?
You have an appointment with Mr. Rogers at 4.
Couldn't.
It's right here in your appointment book.
I made that?
Certainly did.
Well, change Mr. Rogers to another day.
All right.
And Alice, you had better get out all the books and papers pertaining to Mr. Hanley.
Now,
I'm going to have to make some slight financial adjustment. After all these years of working with Mr. Hanley's money, the office is going to miss it.
everything has to end sometime or another.
I just didn't think it would end so soon.
What?
Nothing.
Suspicious.
Oh boy, Brian. Well,
Don't go all Lenny on us, Carl.
He's got a backup cat.
oh man. Carl, man.
Oh no.
Now, before we begin, there are a few things I must tell you. First of all, This will is highly irregular, though legal.
I'm glad they didn't show anything.
Your father was a very strange and mysterious man. None of you three girls really knew your father. His vast holdings in South America demanded every moment of his time, thereby depriving you of any attention. He returned to Hanley Island only about 7 times. Out of those 7 visits, 3 children were conceived. You, Jennifer, you, Louise, and you, Regina. And in that order. On his last visit, many years ago, he demanded my late father's presence at Hanley Island. My father arrived by the boat and went directly to his bedside. He was a very untrusting man. He had already had these papers drawn up by his lawyers in South America. All he wanted of my father was his signature to attest to the legality of his sanity. To this day, I do not know what is in these papers. Well, my dears, this is it.
Man, he's like so pumped.
Finally get to know.
My dearest darlings, by now I presume you are all happily married. I never was. You loved your mother, I never did. She was a good mother, but a terrible wife. She was possessive, selfish, and demanding. These statements I make now against her should not be allowed to hurt your feelings toward her. They are only meant to give you insight into the following provisions. 1. Each of you and your husband shall reside at Hanley House in sexual harmony for a period of 3 days.
What?
2.
What?
The morning of the 3rd day, envelope marked with the B in the possession of my lawyer will be opened, and the bequest shall be dispersed. 3. The large old trunk in the attic of the main hall, which will have been brought down by this time, shall be opened. 4. In case any unforeseen events occur, the eldest heir shall redistribute my bequests according to her wishes.
Nice.
Well, never knew they had no love for each other.
You know, Mother never let us know.
No one knew.
The whole thing frightens me. I don't like it.
Neither do I.
Didn't she said that before?
There's no other way. We can't have the will read here. These are his wishes. I can't change the stipulations. I would advise you to carry out his will to the letter. There is a great deal of money.
What's the legal definition of
Why would you
sexual
include
harmony?
us? The husband's in his will. According to my late father, who knew him quite well, he felt that any man who could put up with her children was as much entitled to the money as any of his heirs.
That's the reason Regina and I had to be married for 2 years before the will could be read.
Precisely.
How he must have hated her. If only he had known some of the love that his daughters have had and given.
That's one of the nicest things you've ever said.
I don't want to go.
We have no choice.
No.
Do you know it's 4:15 already? I think we'd better wrap things up. You have to take the 6 o'clock train upstate to connect with the 8:30 boat. You should arrive on Hanley Island.
This is turning into
Glad
the
you told us
Monty
to bring
Python
luggage with us, or we never would have made it.
This is it, darling. After all these years, it'll be worth the waiting. I know how hard it's been financially on you and James lately. Everything will be all right. You'll see.
I wish I felt the way you do.
You will.
Time's wasting.
I'll call a taxi.
The best of luck to everyone.
We won't be needing it, Mr. Schaefer. Everything's going to be just fine.
The train's 3 minutes late.
Oh, what would you do without your watch? You know, I hope you don't make sure Sylvia doesn't drink too much.
I wonder whether I shouldn't have given him a little more money.
Oh, I forgot my shoes.
You've got them on.
No, the new ones I bought for the trip.
Slippers, forget them.
Here he comes.
I hope I don't get train sick.
James, get us a quarter. I'll help to relay with Rob. All right, everybody?
Yes.
Quarter.
There's a train.
Yeah, the train. It's right here.
More fog. More fog.
The trash beach.
Oh my God.
What?
What?
Poor Carl.
What are they doing? I'm confused. Where did they come in?
I'm not sure.
What?
Whoa.
Oh no. Carl smash.
Is this what the beaches in New York look like?
I get, dude, it's so many plastic bottles. Like how?
And that was back then.
It's all right. Everything's fine.
Could you help me with this, please? Oh. Why we had it dressed down here is beyond me. Well, Margaret said the rooms aren't ready yet. Well, I don't know why that should be. According to Lawyer Schaefer, they knew we were coming 2 weeks ago. Where's Regina? Well, she's going through her things in the storage room. She thinks she lost an earring. It's cold in here. It's always cold here. That's what I remember as a child. Seems strange being here again, doesn't it? Oh, I always hated this place. Too bad Papa never finished the main building. Well, he went all over the world to furbish it. It's funny how he never finished with all of the electricity. Did you see the light fixtures in the outlets? He never put the generator in to make everything work. Oh, there are so many things that I've buried in my head. Did you see that portrait of Mama in the dining room? It's not very flattering, is it? Oh, you remember when we were young and we went to that awful boarding? Oh, Mrs. Snyder, oh, awful. Oh, at least we have each other. Oh, we'll always have each other. Was that a threat? Oh. Oh. You know, though, Margaret and Mary haven't had a very easy time of it.
You mean Carl?
Not just that, but the time they spent catering to Mama all those years.
Why do you think she never spent much time with us?
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever completely know.
Well, we haven't come out too badly, have we? Considering.
Maybe we were lucky. We were never spoiled, and we always had to make our own decisions, and we never had anyone to tell us what to do.
Maybe.
So is it that that Carl and his sisters live in that house and have been keeping it up, I guess?
The last few years.
A family home.
In Philadelphia and all.
You are happy now, aren't you?
As happy as I can expect to be.
They must have really hated each other.
You mean mother and father?
Well, why didn't they just divorce? We might as well have. Each one of them went their separate way.
He drank a lot.
Well, that's what we were told. I wonder what was the truth and what wasn't.
Don't you believe what she told us?
Well, all we heard was her side. There are two sides to every story.
True. Maybe some good will come of it.
Framing.
The money? Schaefer said there's going to be a lot of
So
it.
wonky.
Not just that. Renewing
Where's the
old
line?
times.
Oh, the fire's so nice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, Carl's a little simple-minded. The only thing he understands is a slap now and then.
Short attention span.
Most of my patients are like that.
Oh, stop that. You do very well by your patients.
Must be interesting listening to other people's secrets.
I have to
Mostly
slap
petty
most of my
problems.
patients.
They let them mount up, keeping them to themselves, and then one day they cause mental stress.
Fascinating field.
I wish I was in something besides hardware.
Honey, if you were in something else, you'd want something else. Just what we were talking about, short attention span.
Excuse me, but it's getting very late now, and Mary and I have most of your things up in your room, so if you all don't mind, we'd like to show you.
Of course, you must be very tired.
The supper was excellent.
Wasn't it, though?
Shall we all go?
Like, is Mary blind, or is she just chilling in those glasses?
It's just like Morpheus.
I want to rock Mary's style with sunglasses.
Over here year-round. You get used to it. You can get used to anything. We put you all up on the second floor. Mary and Carl and I are up on the third floor.
Mary and Carl. He does. My God, I like that shot.
Teddy. Teddy, we'll get it, Teddy. I will. Carl. Carl. Teddy. Teddy. Yes, Teddy. Come get Teddy, Carl. Come on.
He's not violent, is he?
No. Not really. Mr. and Mrs. Burke? Bobby. This room is yours.
Thank you.
And Mr. and Mrs. Halverson,
Ooh.
this is your room.
Okay.
Thank you.
I like the look of
And
it.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Fixed.
this way.
Looks bloody
I'm
good
afraid your
for the
room's
legacy
all
of
the way
blood.
down the hall. Here it is over here.
I shouldn't have smelled it.
There you are. Thank you. If you need anything, just
Any
call.
different?
I'll leave my door
Not
open.
bad.
It's very good. It wasn't like the other one.
If there's anything you'd like, just call.
If you don't mind, I would like a little tea before I retire.
It's
Old
got
habits are
some-
hard to change.
Of course.
The layers come still.
Yeah, I think I'd like it more if it was a little colder still.
Yeah. Chilled.
Yeah.
Still pretty good.
Light, fruity.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. With like a cream, it would be that.
Yeah,
that's what
berries
it
and cream.
needs. Like a
Yeah,
little bit of
I'll
cream.
try that.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I feel so much better now.
Kind of
wish you would've
revision
reminded
and
me before we
correction.
left New
Yes.
York. I could have gotten something for you at the druggist. Completely forgotten about you getting motion sickness.
It wouldn't have been so bad if the sea had been a little calmer.
3 days. No phone, no communications with the mainland. I don't think I've ever been so cut off.
Oh, no. We're going to have that second honeymoon that we've never had. Hmm? Oh. Oh. I love you. How long has it been since I've told you that, eh?
Not for at least 3 minutes.
Oh.
What's wrong?
Someone's at the door.
What do you mean?
The doorknob turned.
There's nothing there.
3 days. Well, I'll say one thing. Those two certainly know how to cook.
That's all you think about is your stomach.
Charlotte got off all right?
Mm-hmm. She loves your mother. Your mother spoils her rotten. She gives her anything she wants.
Can't blame her. Charlotte's the only granddaughter she has.
How did you like Margaret and Mary?
They're a real pair. That's their brother?
I think he was brain damaged at birth. You know, I'd almost completely forgotten all about the three of them.
I thought you grew up together.
No, Mother always kept us apart. And we girls were always away at boarding school or being taken on vacation, being sent away someplace. I don't want to talk about it. It brings back unpleasant memories.
Right.
Shame.
Lest we forget the sexual harmony clause.
Carl? Carl?
Oh, she finally decided to take her sunglasses off.
Yeah, hardly recognized her.
Carl? 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 Here's Teddy. Carl? Come get Teddy, huh? Carl?
It's cold in here.
It's always cold on this island. The only thing I ever remember about it.
You've been in a mood ever since we left New York. Who is it?
It's me, Robert. I thought you might like to read the book I was telling you about.
Excuse me. I thought another lamp might come in handy.
Oh, that for us?
You need it.
It is a little dark in here. Here, I'll take that.
I'll turn down the bed.
I think you'll find it interesting.
What? Oh.
Oh, shit. The house is gonna burn down.
For they shall inherit.
Robert, here.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit. Now, what the hell does that mean? Who could have done it?
I don't know.
Wow, jump.
But I'm
Time jump.
frightened. John, I can't stay in bed. John? No, it's very strange. But Regina had a dream about something like this the other night.
What do you mean?
Well, it was a couple of nights ago, and she dreamt there was blood in her bed.
Oh, come on now.
No, it's true. She dreamt she was in a strange room, and when she went to pull back the covers, there was blood all over the bed.
I don't know what to say.
Regina has a sixth sense about these things. I remember the night before Mama died. It was very late, and Regina was staying with me, and it was the middle of the night. She woke up screaming. I ran to her bedside, and she was cold with sweat. And she said, Mama's dead.
Darling, that dead animal was someone's idea of a cruel joke.
It wasn't a joke. It reeked of death.
It could have been any one of them.
It's funny. After all these years of being close to them, I don't feel close to them anymore.
Well, it's only natural. You haven't seen either one of them in a long time.
No. It isn't that. It's this house. It's the whole thing about the will. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
And that is going to take us to our second break. 2/3 of the way through Legacy of Blood. What are we thinking so far, Evan?
It's still
slow.
It's slow.
Like it was fast. It's fast, but it's because there's a lot of different parts, moving parts that you're following.
Right.
But it's slow in that nothing's happening.
Yeah, we're not really off.
It's a murder
off
mystery.
the
How many
runway
murders
yet.
do we have so far?
None. Goose egg.
Big fat zero. Oh.
Yeah, I've been waiting for like this stuff to start happening. They're in the house. people should start dying, or should have already been started dying.
Should have
at this point in the movie.
The one thing I will say is the way that I cut the brakes tonight is that the last third of the movie is
You say you cut the brakes?
I cut the brakes.
Ah!
The last third of the movie is the longest portion of the three chunks.
Okay.
So,
So we're maybe we're not quite as far as I think we are.
There's 27 minutes left. Hopefully they get some stuff going. Again, Andy Milligan. So all I know about his films is off the trailers that I've seen and the trailers we got for the breaks. And there's a decent amount of gore showcased in these trailers. Tonight's movie has been pretty tame. Will that change? I don't know.
Maybe they're saving it all for the last third-ish of the movie.
Maybe. We will see. But that was kind of his thing, was that the horror films that he made were considered gore films. And yes, Evan even psychically predicted earlier, trash gore was what, because his films were referred to as trash gore. And because it really is just kind of low, very low. Tonight's film is there's a little bit of a sheen on it. I mean,
a little
again,
bit. So is this his house that they're
so
filming in?
So this was actually a hotel that he ran and operated. He owned and lived in it and operated it. And I also read to it referred as a flop house. I don't know if that's an accurate description. Do you have any idea of what?
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know how to define
Yeah,
it.
flop, like very low rent.
Yeah.
And like very shady characters, and you're just kind of like a bunch of degenerates living there. You don't really care what kind of clientele you got. But the weird thing about Milligan apparently was that he absolutely abhorred drugs and alcohol. Like he did not
straight edge.
Yeah, apparently he was super straight edge and like got really angry whenever people would like smoke around him, or it's kind of, I mean,
You're in
again,
the arts.
When you're around, because again, even the people he would cast in his movies, again, Fringe. He's living Fringe lifestyle. That's Andy Milligan, dude. It's all on the Fringe.
Yeah.
So again, it's like hiring somebody like Domaniac to be an actor in your movie. Like that's Andy Milligan's style. So it's like you're like, well, he's probably hiring fucking real like people that use drugs and shit. I read a whole thing. I didn't have it down on my fact sheet, so I don't know if I'm getting this exactly right, but something about there was somebody that he was close to that he cast in his, multiple movies that was also a known like abortion clinic bombist, or would do bomb threats, and then one time actually did like bomb an abortion clinic. And,
Jesus.
but he would just associate with wild characters. That was Andy Milligan. And there's a whole biography
This is
on
my friend, the terrorist.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, hey, I got a buddy I want you to meet. See that guy over there in the green jacket? He's got a bunch of pamphlets he wants to give to you about how abortion is the original sin. Whatever that means. So yeah, it's funny. This is like very I mean, again, Andy Milligan was described as complicated, sadistic, detestable, damaged. His films are noted for ugliness, being divisive. So it's
a lot of D words there.
A lot of D's, yeah. Well, that was so there was an article on the website Bleeding Skull, which is a great resource that I've used for a lot of especially the more like exploitation indie outsider films is kind of what they're colloquially referred to, not really dependent on genre, but the idea of outsider artists, outsider art, outsider films is very much what this kind of falls under the umbrella of, and Milligan's films in general. But that website had a lot of great quotes about that, and one of the other ones is the fact that one is a quote from Milligan. You know, we've seen, obviously there's a lot of family drama going on here, and you know, they talk about their father or their mother. I don't know. There's a lot of, you see, like, I'm not going to go into it, but obviously that's a big thing for him. A quote that website had Milligan saying was, "You don't turn into an artist if you have a happy home life. I only write about what I know. I just remember the ugly things." So he's very, you know, again, when you're described as sadistic, that's kind of, you're taking on a moniker as a filmmaker that maybe, you know, a lot of filmmakers aren't described as sadistic.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody calls David Lynch sadistic.
Yeah, it's not really a compliment.
Even though you maybe could call David Lynch sadistic. I don't know. Stanley Kubrick, sadistic. There you go. That's a real one. Interesting that Milligan's first film was paired with the sadist. Oh, totally unrelated. But yeah, so Milligan, though, this was his, like I said, his last hurrah. And because this was his last theatrically released, that word, theatrically released film. 1978, which I don't know if you know what the big marquee horror film was in 1978.
Well, wasn't that when Star Wars came out?
That was Star Wars 76 or 77.
Okay.
78, the big horror film. Halloween.
Oh.
Huge independent sensation. The first one was indie, second one Universal picked it up and it was a studio film, but the original was an indie effort. And you know, would you believe this was shot the same year as Halloween?
Man. See, sometimes you hate to put things in context.
Maybe I should have waited till the end of the movie to give you that, but
yeah, I guess, you know, if all analysis is just comparison, like finding a reference point.
Yeah, when you do it, you're like,
hurts to like, oh man, those guys were doing that in the same year.
They were doing this. But again, this was the 42nd Street.
It's a different kind of
completely different levels of indie filmmaking. That's the thing. Indie filmmaking is not a specific, like, there is so many niches within indie. And Andy Milligan. So the trailers that we're gonna get. So this was his last theatrically released film. His other ones were released direct to video. And he did, up until the end of his life, continue to direct horror films. And so the next one he did after this was 6-7 years later, 1984, a film entitled Carnage, which was one of his like few modern set films. It wasn't a period piece, and it was like a poltergeist kind of story about a like family or like couples or a couple or couple, I don't know, he has a weird thing about couples moving into a haunted house, and so there's like a meat cleaver going to a priest's head or something. It's fucking, he's got that's what I'm saying, the special effects showcased in his trailers. I expected a little more from this movie. We'll see what we get, but you'll see in this trailer, it's like, whoa. And then the second trailer is for, so he ended up actually moving out to Los Angeles in the late 80s, I think around 1985. He finally decided that he just needed to get away from New York and wanted to change. So he moved out to Los Angeles and he made like 3 to 5 other films, one of which was the second trailer we're going to see is for a movie called Monstrosity, where, see if I can get the plot correct, some medical students make I'm using the film's quotes here, Jewish golem to like attack their enemies or to do something. And it's just a dude in a fright wig, and he's got like magic powers, and it
Animal House.
It does not look good, dude. Wow. So it's a quick break. So hopefully we're back up here when that trailer comes on, because it is, and there's like ridiculous gore effects, like in the first few seconds, a fucking old man gets his throat slashed. Dudes are fucking slapping women. Like, it's very brutal and bad and not good. It's sleazy. It's trashy. But then the fright wig dude comes up and you're like, what is this? What is happening? And unfortunately, that was how his career went. And we'll talk about, kind of the end of his life, which was very, kind of tragic. Generally. It's sad. But we'll get into that. So we're going to get these 2 trailers for some later Andy Milligan films. And then when we come out, we'll get into the exciting conclusion of Legacy of Blood. So stick around. We'll be right back.
It seemed like a charming house, but they should have known that a house designed by Andy Milligan, master of the macabre, would be a little different and very dangerous.
There's something about this house, John.
This house is not very hospitable. It's trying to kill. It will kill. There will be carnage and a few other strange moments. What is causing this? Who is causing the carnage? You can lose your head in all the excitement. What strange force is compelling the carnage? When the carnage begins, everything stops. Shocking experience. Carnage.
Shut up, little man.
Listen, don't go away! He supposedly created a golem to avenge the enemies of his followers.
Oh, sweet Mary, holy shit! It's alive!
You don't scare me. I know your type.
You're not nice no more.
No, Frankie!
You claim you made a man out of dead parts you stole from your medical school? What are you on, Scott?
You don't believe me?
No.
I'll show him to you.
Frankie, you want to nail me, Frankie?
Nail ya?
Yeah, you know, to do it. You know.
No.
You have before, haven't you?
No.
You're a kid.
No.
A virgin? Wow!
Wow.
Sheesh.
Well, we are back, and those were Unfortunately, trailers for 2 later Andy Milligan films.
I kind of want to watch that almost. It's so ridiculous. It's like, what if Frankenstein meets Carrot Top?
Right. Awful. Really bad. It's funny because there were a lot of films like that at that time in just terms of really low quality, cheaply shot direct-to-video horror movies that we won't even know about, like, all of them until, again, like the website Bleeding Skull, every once in a while they'll highlight one that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, and they do a lot of shot on video, highlighting shot on video horror films, which that's a whole other subgenre almost in and of itself. But yeah, unfortunately, Milligan's later career, these films were obviously pretty low quality, not period pieces. I believe his final film was a like a horror comedy hospital movie that was just really not. It was a lot of really bad jokes that didn't land well. It was because he was more of just a straightforward horror filmmaker, not a comedy guy. But apparently this was more comedy, but the jokes were just low-hanging fruit. And so it was Surge a Kill. That's what it's titled. Surge a Kill.
Surge a Kill?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it takes place in a hospital, and it's a whole... At that time, hospital comedies were like a thing. Yeah, I'm serious. Like late 80s, early 90s, hospital comedies were like
Scrubs.
Yeah, legitimately. I'm sure that when they pitched Scrubs, they are like, remember these popular hospital comedies of the 80s and 90s, and remember MASH. People like hospitals don't have to be all drama. We can have some laughs too. So that's how they worked that out. But these films obviously were a step down from his, I don't think he was making the costumes for those. I don't think he was writing and doing I don't know.
The Scrubs.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. No, not one bit.
Scrubs by Rafine.
Scrubs by Rafine. Yeah, no, he was not making any Scrubs. Unfortunately, they would have been very. They would have been very 19th century for sure. It would have been kind of old school. It would have been cool to see, but unfortunately, no. So again, I said earlier, tragically, but it's just kind of unfortunately the times at the time. Andy Milligan passed away in 1991 from AIDS complications. And he was in abject poverty because the distributors for his films never cut him in any way whatsoever. Like you said, it was all front end, no back end.
Right.
So,
and when you're a creator of something like like a filmmaker or whatever, you kind of need some of that residual or passive income. However you want to phrase it.
Yeah, well, and again, that's what Roger Corman understood. Again, Andy Warhol is just an artist, realized there's monetary value in my name. I can demand that I get paid a high price because my name is on this thing. And I don't have to do anything. In Milligan's case, again, much like Corman, I'm just trying to get enough money to make the next movie. But Corman also made sure to get a little bit extra to, he made sure to get everything that he wanted. I think Milligan there was a lot going on, and his life was very fast. And he was 60. He was in his 60s when he passed away, so he wasn't. He had lived a pretty long life, but still, again, that in that one article, it's just he just burned very brightly and very quickly, and it would be interesting to see what it'd be like if he was around in this day and age. But you didn't see it, but in that first trailer, they bill it as like, you know, a haunted house, but Andy Milligan's haunted house from his twisted mind. And it's like, well, he lived long enough that he got to see some kind of name value or like creditation to his style, personal style as a filmmaker. That's all anybody can hope to achieve, that you have a large enough body of work that people can say, oh, you've got a style.
Yeah.
Milligan got that. So hopefully we'll see his trademark gore here in the final third of the film. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We haven't seen a lot, but
other than this poor rabbit.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. The rabbit's been brutal.
Carl, just between Carl and the
rabbit.
creatures around Carl.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if it picks up. Anything else before we get into it, Evan?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that mailman to come back.
Oh yeah, what's gonna be? He's gonna come in at the very end.
It's gonna be.
He's gonna put back whatever he stole, but everybody's gonna be dead, so it won't matter.
Just that very satisfying setup and payoff.
Right. Well, they have to pay it off. Chekhov's gun. You don't close up on him stealing that thing if you're not gonna pay it off later. So we'll see. On that note, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting conclusion, hopefully exciting conclusion of Legacy of Blood right now.
Come here and sit down.
I can't. I can't relax.
Everything's going to be all right.
You think so?
What do you mean?
This house and property are worth a great deal of money. The rest of his holdings, God only knows how much.
Well, we'll get our share.
I want more than my share.
That's selfish.
Damn.
No, it isn't. I'm the youngest. I need it more than they do. I always got the short end of everything. Even Mama didn't have time for me. You heard what Samuel Schaefer said. He had no love for her. She, in turn, got more and more bitter towards us. She got rid of us whenever she could.
I've never seen you like this before.
I had to do with that even while you were in law school.
You don't resent me for that. No, don't. Come to bed.
No, don't.
I don't want you to think anymore.
Oh no, I spilled my syrup on the floor.
Evan. Love the candid angle.
You stay here. I'll be right back.
Don't leave me.
Lock the door.
He did. I love all the creaking of the stairs. Very real. Very authentic.
John, what are you doing up?
Did you see anyone?
No, I just came out. I heard someone upstairs and I came out.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. Damn it, man. There's an X on our door, painted in blood. Oh, no. Don't go up. I don't want Regina upset any more than she already is.
I thought I saw something.
What?
Damn it, man.
I thought I saw a shadow going down the stairs just before you came down.
I think we better check down here. Good idea.
If his mustache was like 3/4 the size, he'd be the perfect Vincent Price impersonator.
I could use a drink.
So could I.
Sherry?
No, thank you.
Oh, that's right. You drink brandy.
My nerves are shot. I'll have another one.
Cheers. Sorry. How's Louise?
She's asleep. At least she was dozing when I left. It's not very funny about that dead rabbit.
I don't think it was meant to be.
First the rabbit, then the blood on your door. Why? It doesn't make sense.
I think that Carl is sicker, or smarter than we think.
Wasn't Carl.
Who do you think did it?
I don't know. But I won't be able to sleep tonight until I check.
Want help? I'll check the kitchen and the back porch.
Good idea.
Let's split up, gang. How long is that little candle gonna last? 15 minutes?
I'll check the front door and make sure it's locked.
Right.
What?
What was in that brand?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Someone poisoned the brandy supply.
Somebody tainted brandy supply. Yep, keep moving forward. Gotta follow this blood trail.
John? 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 Oh, it's you. What are you doing now?
Oh, it's you.
James? Is that you? James? Answer me! Who's out there? Oh!
Open the door. Jesus. Brutal.
I never heard of such a thing. Breakfast at noon.
Well, you could hardly expect them to eat before now after what happened last night.
Well, it just throws the whole day off.
Oh, for God's sake, Mary, will you stop it? You've been going on like this all
We're not
morning.
gonna call the
None of our
police.
days will be the same again till this whole thing is over.
And to think our lives used to revolve around those girls.
And now they seem to be in the way.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, but I did. And I mean it. I never loved those three the way you used to. Yeah, I've said it. After all these years, I finally said it.
I never knew you felt that way.
Well, the table's set. We certainly can't wait for them any longer.
You know what I should have asked? Who do you think it is? Well, we hadn't had a killing yet, so no wonder I couldn't ask that.
Yeah, nothing.
And I knew it was a murder mystery, but
who do you think it's gonna
Billy
be?
down on the beach. As we were coming to the house, he remembered and went to untie him. I turned, I saw what had happened, and I went after him. I took Billy and hid him under my cloak. After you were inside, I buried him. Someone must have dug him up.
We mustn't get him any more
Suspect.
pets.
Maybe it's
We
that
can't
sweet
watch him
girl.
all the time.
You have to. You know how he gets.
Well, he hasn't done anything like that in years.
You should have committed him years ago.
You can't send your own brother to an asylum.
If only he didn't get
I
so
think it's
violent.
the one sister, like the
Yes,
main
he was
one,
tied
like
up
the
all
one
night.
with
Sure.
most
Yes.
stuff.
When I went to bed, he was there, and when I got up this morning, he was still there.
Thank God it wasn't him.
Can you convince them of that? Here they come.
I don't think we'll be able to eat anything.
Well, there must be some way to get off this island.
Only 2 more days, and everything will be all right.
We checked the glasses and decanted. We found no trace of drugs.
Oh, but it had to be. There was no other way you could have gone off like that.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
Why would anyone want to kill James? It doesn't make any sense.
Hadn't you better stay up there with Regina?
Louise is up there with her now, but she doesn't want us. She told us to leave.
Louise, yeah.
No one
I
could have
think it's
lifted him and hung him by
Louise.
the neck like that unless they had a great deal of strength.
Oh, I don't want to hear anymore. Really, you two, can't you see how upset I am?
Margaret, Mary, Mr. Burke and I want to talk with you.
Where was Carl last night?
He was with us. We know where he was all night.
It wasn't Carl. Believe us, it wasn't Carl.
You swear to that?
Yes.
He did it!
What? Hey?
If you'll excuse me, I have to take this up. to
Nobody's
Mrs.
gonna
Smith.
say, like, thank you, Carl. Good job, Carl.
I thought she was gonna slap him again.
That's how you learn. Yeah.
Where you suggested.
Damn it, Carl! You just dropped the one on the
We
floor.
covered it over with some old sailcloth.
How else would he know? You didn't get. This is the furthest he's gotten with it. A video game, you know. You can't. You don't know that you're not supposed to drop
Carl,
the wood on the
now
floor.
I want you to take this. Take it upstairs to room number 5 to Mrs. Smith. The lady in room number 5. Go on now. Go on, Carl. I'm right behind you.
I don't know if Carl's the right person to send into the grieving widow.
Can't you knock before you come into a room? What do you want?
Look.
Thank you. What is it?
I didn't.
You didn't what? Go on downstairs. Go. I think he was trying to tell me something. No, I think he likes you. He only tries to make conversation with people he likes. You really must try to eat something. I can't. I'll get you something to eat.
Oh, yes, Margaret. What is it?
It's Carl. Mr. Burke, I was wondering if you'd be kind enough to help supervise Carl with the kindling. We use up quite a bit of wood here in the fireplace. It gets rather chilly nights, and he really can't handle it without supervision. Mary and I have our hands full. So I was wondering if you'd be kind enough to help supervise it.
Why, certainly. I'd be happy to. What is it you wanted?
Well, the wood's usually brought in from outside to dry out, and then it's brought up here to burn. Just help him carry it in and send him up with it.
Of course. You all right, Jennifer?
Oh, you go right ahead. Don't worry about me. I think I'm going to spend some time with Regina. She should have someone to talk to.
Where's Carl?
Carl?
Already got the jacket on.
He's
Already ready to go out.
Carl, don't be frightened. This is Mr. Burke.
Well,
Yes.
well.
He's going to help you with the wood.
A what? A what?
Yes. Now, I
What?
want you to do just
What?
what Mr. Burke tells you
What's
to
the
do.
what?
Do you hear? You'd better take this with you.
I couldn't use that on him.
Well, you probably won't have to, but it's the only thing he understands. Now, Carl, you take Mr. Burke downstairs.
Okay.
That's right. Go on now. Thank
This is,
you.
I guess, a very Andy Milligan one.
Can you supervise my brother? You might have to whip him.
Jesus. What? Who is that?
What
Oh God! Oh my God!
These time
Oh my God,
Wow.
dude! There was no setup.
Again? I did. Well, I don't know why they can't at least be on time for dinner.
Is Mrs. Smith coming down for dinner?
No, I told her I'd take her up something later.
Well, we can't wait any longer. The turkey will be dried out.
Well, do you want to call them in or shall I?
You call them. I'll get the turkey.
Okay.
Dinner's served.
Or are we going to eat without Robert?
What about Regina?
We don't know where Mr. Burke is, and dinner really can't wait any longer. As for Mrs. Smith, I told her I'd take something up to her later.
I must apologize for Robert. It's not like him to be so inconsiderate.
He might have gone for a walk and got lost.
Well, it isn't fair to Margaret and
So
Mary.
inconsiderate.
Let's have dinner.
Yeah. How
All right,
dare
Margaret.
he? How dare he get his fucking stomach ripped apart?
What? This isn't turkey.
For God's sake, Louise, will you stop crying? It's not going to do any good.
Get out, no!
I didn't mean to snap at you, darling. It's just that I feel so helpless. I don't know which way to turn. I wish we'd never come to this goddamn island.
Well, swearing isn't going to help.
Sorry.
Oh, where's Robert? Where's Robert? I know something's happened to him.
There's only some way we could get off this island.
Oh, there isn't even a road.
This escalated quickly.
Margaret,
What do you want?
may I speak to you for a moment?
Don't
Yeah, I
go
guess
out
we should
there.
have known.
For God's sakes, it's only Margaret.
Nothing to.
What is it, Margaret?
The lawyer,
so
Schaefer,
fast.
has requested that a trunk be taken downstairs for the reading of the will, and, well, I was wondering if you'd help Carl take it downstairs.
Where is it?
Oh, don't help Carl.
No.
We know what happened to the last guy who helped Carl.
Well, couldn't it wait until Schaefer comes?
I'm afraid there won't be time, and it's imperative that the trunk be down there for the reading of the will. Well, after that, you all leave for the city immediately. The boat won't wait.
The boat won't wait.
Carl? Carl, see that trunk there? Take it up. Take that in. Pick it up. That's the way.
Yeah, let me take the other one. Down. Down, Carl. Come over here, Carl. Now listen, Carl. Lift it and put it on my back. Huh? The trunk, Carl. On my back.
Lift.
No. No. Why? Why are you gonna live with your back like this? This sounds like a terrible idea.
Just want to take your legs completely out of
You better
the.
go into your room. Lock the door.
Lock the door.
What's gonna happen?
Maybe it's them. Maybe the sisters are the killers. Charlie, hush.
That's it?
Yes, thank you very much.
I'm going downstairs to take another look at the cellar.
I don't think you should. I think you ought to stay upstairs with them.
No, I'm going downstairs. There has to be an explanation.
Very well. Carl, you stay here and help me.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Charlie, hush.
Uh-oh.
Well, he's in the basement. That's...
Yeah, everybody who goes to the basement.
You know what's gonna happen. In the basement.
I gotta hand it to him. They've got a very creepy basement in this house.
He
hotel.
definitely do. Yeah.
Carl's got kind of a Phantom of the Opera thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely with the sound of the trickling water.
To my favorite daughter, M.H. Love, J.H.
Ah. Nice. Pitchfork right to the throat.
Where are you going with that? I'm going to put it out. Aren't they up yet? They're in Mrs. Halverson's room. For heaven's sakes, give me that. Go up and get him some towels.
Coral. Coral.
Where are you? Carl! What are you doing under there? Come out. Come on out now. Carl, what are you doing? What do you got there? Carl, come out now. Carl! Carl! Carl, what is it? Let me go, Carl! Oh, run, Carl! Oh, look at me! What is it? Tell me! You can trust me. Tell me, Carl. What? Carl! 1880 to my favorite daughter, M.H., love, J.H. Why, that's Mr. Handley. This is M.H.
Ah! Run, Carl, run, Carl. Oh my God. Oh, Carl. Oh, Jesus. Wait.
Do you know who I am? Meet your sister, Margaret. Right, your sister. You didn't know that, did you? 40 years ago, I was the first born in this house. My mama died when I was born. My papa loved my mama very much. He was so alone, so he married again. But he was so heartbroken that he only came back 7 times. 7 visits. Then he laid with that woman, her picture down there in my dining room. That bitch, your mother! Out of those visits, 3 more girls were conceived. You, Jennifer, you, Louise, and Regina. He never knew how cruel she was to me. She promised to care for me as if I were her very own, but she hated me. And every time she looked into my eyes, she blamed me for his not coming back. Whenever he did come back, she'd fawn over me and pamper me and dress me and pretend I was her favorite in front of him. But he was gone the next morning, and then I was beaten and starved and forced into servitude. Then she had an idea. She bought 2 infants, Mary and Carl, and raised them as my brother and sister. Through the years, I discovered all this, all the clues to my real identity. And I've waited and waited for my day of vengeance. This morning, that trunk down there in the parlor will reveal all the proof I need. When Schaefer arrives, everybody will be gone, except me. And you know who killed him? Carl. Poor, stupid Carl. That same Carl that your mother beat so unmercifully that he's a half-wit. Oh, I fixed it, so there's no doubt that he did it. Of course, I had to kill him. Self-defense. You had no idea I was so clever, huh? Oh, meek, charming little Margaret. You see, I really couldn't have done it without his help. He was very useful to me while he was alive. He'll be even more useful to me now that he's dead. I really ought to thank your mother for making him such a half-wit. Goodbye, Jennifer. Goodbye, Louise.
He loves a meat cleaver to the head. Andy Milligan does. Apparently.
The end.
Is it the lawyer? I don't think we'll ever know. What the hell? Oh, it's just rhythmic knocking.
Somebody answer the door. Oh, they left.
Wow. That was Legacy of Blood.
That was something.
What did we think, Evan?
Yeah, that ending. To me, it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know what you thought.
I think the whole movie kind of came out of nowhere. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like, some of it does, but like not in like a... But what doesn't make sense, it's not like in a good way. Like, sometimes I like a movie that doesn't make sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
Scared to Death, you know, I love because it does not make sense. But this, it just seemed a little more like frustratingly so. Like, Elise was scared to death you get Bela Lugosi, and you can't be like, you're like, okay, well, whatever criticisms I have about this movie, there's my guy. So I'm cool. Whatever's happening, I'm glad he's running around in a cape. Here, it's like, I'm waiting for something. I don't have, so we got a lot of gore there in the last 15 minutes, but it was also fast and fleeting. You know, it just happened very quick, and there wasn't really a lot of time to process a murder. You know, it's not like the normal thing where in a normal Hollywood movie, like, person's doing something, person gets murdered, people discover the body, people decide what to do. Here, it was like, someone's doing something, they get murdered, people are talking about the fact somebody got murdered, and then we're on to the next thing. There's no, like, it doesn't follow.
People are talking about it like an hour later.
Yeah,
like,
right.
There's so many time skips in this that were just like that. It's suddenly hours later.
It's way too abrupt. It's frustratingly plot-wise. Yeah, because you're just like, hey, what's happening? Where is what? And so, you know, this is what the summer of schlock is all about. You know, sometimes you get a movie that is frustratingly bad in a way that, like, we had lazy filmmaking in the premiere episode. This wasn't lazy filmmaking as much. It was just bad writing. They just didn't mind jumping around, but in a way that you're like, you didn't give me what I need. You didn't give me the narrative that I need.
I mean, even the like set and costume wise for trying to make a very budget period piece, I thought it could have been worse, but you're right, it's just like the way it's written and the way it's cut just kind of left me scratching my head a little bit.
Right,
Odd movie.
Yeah, it was odd. It was definitely odd, and we have to have those every summer of schlock. You know, we got to get it out there a little bit, and so that was it. That was definitely out there. It was definitely weird. So that's really what it's about. And again, we'll have more Andy Milligan, and there's a biography that was written on him called The Ghastly One, the sex gore netherworld of filmmaker Andy Milligan. And the biographer Jimmy McDonough, he has written like a few other acclaimed biographies. I think he wrote one on Russ Meyer, who he's the filmmaker behind Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, and he's written some musical like biographies on musical artists and other things that have been acclaimed, but he actually cared for Milligan during his like final years when he was like when he was dealing with AIDS. McDonough actually was one of the few people that was like caring for him, and I guess had interviewed him and like, you know, knew he was gonna write this biography, but apparently the biography is wild, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to buy it and have it for a resource when we watch our next Milligan film, but that'll probably be till next summer, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more, you know. Again, apparently this is not one of his better works, so we got something to look forward to next time. Hope that we watch an Andy Milligan film. But, you know, and again, the Halloween factoid is kind of the mind-blowing thing, right? That's what like sends it over the edge. The idea that this came out the same year as such a revolutionary slasher as Halloween, and here we had a murder mystery with a slasher killer, kind of, but it was just also slapdash. Didn't really add up to very much, but hey, that's what we're enjoying it. We're taking it all in, and that was Legacy of Blood. So next week, it's funny. So the whole bit that we heard in this movie about the Or wait, no, it was in that trailer with the whole golem and the medical students and all that.
Yeah.
So isn't there like an urban legend about like, well, I know there's a whole thing about medical students robbing graves, but there's an urban legend about college kids, usually in a fraternity, and they're also med students sometimes, who like prank a fellow student with like a dead body, or with like, you got to go into this crypt and you got to take a ring off a dead body.
Do you think hazing happens in med school?
Hazing in med school with crypts and dead bodies? No, like
I'm sure it does.
Literally in like doing the spine tingling tale stuff, I've come up across a few stories that are about medical students robbing graves, and then other, like there was a radio show on the Sirius XM Radio Classics where it was a whole thing about this guy thought he had murdered somebody, but it was his college buddies playing a prank on him with stealing, but they ruined his life and they didn't realize it. They thought it was just a prank, and then he saw his revenge. It was radio,
prank,
man.
bro.
You can do anything. Yeah, it's a fucking wild. So this is like, yeah, so what we're going to be watching next Friday is basically a play on that urban legend entitled Ring of Terror from 1962. Indie horror, very low budget. Haven't seen it before, so it should be a lot of fun. Again, I believe that is kind of an urban legend of med student fraternities playing pranks on each other with dead bodies.
Great prank.
Great prank. Yeah, a lot of fun. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that next Friday at 9 p.m. And of course, that'll just be on Twitch, which we're on Twitch at Scream Stream Show. And of course, we're on all the socials at Scream Stream Show. Instagram, if you want to find our recipes for the Schlock tales or any of our past cocktails, or just want to find out what movies we're going to be watching, you know, Scream Stream Show on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. And if you want to catch up on any of our past episodes, you can find us over on YouTube at Scream Stream Live. Be sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Of course, we'll be on to our next mini-sode for the Phantom Empire next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Also only on Twitch. Again, we're trying to avoid the copyright issues, so we're keeping it
playing it safe.
On the straight and narrow, playing it safe. So we'll be getting into all that good stuff next week. Of course, tomorrow we'll have another Saturday night shocker lineup for you, a triple feature. Don't know what it'll be yet, but we'll see. So got a lot of good stuff coming your way. And of course, if you want to follow me or Evan on the socials, you can find me on Twitter at Spakenstein, and Mr. Evan Sink is on Twitter and Instagram at Caligari Cursed. Anything before we sign off tonight, Evan?
So I'm curious if Milligan has cameos in all of his films.
Like Hitchcock.
Yeah, like maybe there's some kind of through line, like maybe if you piece them all together, that's the real story.
That's
he was
the movie.
playing the long game the whole time.
That's really cool.
What did he steal from that house? An artist.
Until next time. Sweet screams, everybody.
To all a good fright.